commercial show, to me, is all about personality. Yes, of course, you've worked on your dancing, you're an amazing dancer, you're impressing them with that, but really, the thing that's really going to sing through on a great commercial show is personality. Interacting with people, having this kind of fun liveliness to you. You have to be a great dancer because you don't want to embarrass the customers. They want to feel proud that they have, oh yes, I've hired the best dancer, she's great. That's a given. Then it comes to personality. Are you playing with the guests? Are you amusing them? Are you doing cute little tricks and getting people to feel welcomed and comfortable? Kind of setting that whole tone of we're having a great fun party. Aside from being a good entertainer, the next thing that you can add in, another layer to it, is to have fantastical props. Big, huge candle tray, big wings. It gives them something to talk about. Something like, oh yeah, you hired that girl who had those great props and she had all these flashy things. So it gives them another thing to kind of latch onto and say, wow, she was really talented and really captivating and had that special something that makes you memorable over somebody else.
What makes a successful commercial performance? Well, I would like to say that it's extremely important to be a very, very good dancer and that it's all about the very good dancing. But realistically, I think a lot of times people don't really see your dancing that much, either because they just don't really have the education to appreciate it, or maybe they're just not belly dance fans, or more often, at least in New York City, a lot of times I have found myself working in places where I'm right on top of the audience, in between the tables, and so people aren't seeing your dancing because they can't see your dancing. You're right up there, right in with them. So it's still important to be a good dancer, but in that kind of a situation, I think what people really respond to more than anything else is an outgoing personality and just the general exoticism of belly dance as part of the evening. It is really important to be able to hold the attention of people with your dancing, but when you are right on top of them, I think that what you're doing is less about doing a show for them and more about doing a participatory event where everyone is sort of along for the ride and everyone is going to the same place. So it's less about your being the center of attention and more that you, the dancer, are there to put the audience in the center of your attention, that you're, it's almost like a hostessing job, that you're there to help them have a good time, to, relax. Part of the job is to relax people's inhibitions, help them forget about work, help them forget about whatever it is they have to do tomorrow, and just relax, cut loose, have fun. This is why I think there is so much emphasis on audience participation, because, if people can't see you dancing so much, there still has to be something going on, and when the audience participates, then again you have this idea of everybody participating and making this evening like a party. Something that happens a lot that I'm honestly not very good at is when people call you over and they want you to embarrass someone at the table. They're like, I want you to get him, get him. And this is very confusing to me, because I would think that when there is this, beautiful woman who is demonstrating this, skill that she spent years perfecting, you would not treat that like she's, the monster under the bed, but if, okay, you want me to get him, I'll get him, that's fine. Because, I do understand that sometimes you need to twist somebody's arm and that you get him, and then everybody is along for the ride. For these kinds of jobs, for me, I think it's helpful to think of it as less of a performance art and more actually as kind of like a pink service, not pink service, pink collar, like service work, like childcare, like nursing, some jobs in the beauty industry. Like these are really important jobs of caring for people, but they're not high status, and so to be motivated, you really have to have a lot of heart, and you have to believe in this idea of the importance of taking care of people. Belly dance is not traditionally, very respected. People think that you are a professional party girl, Sharmuta belly dancer, and it can be very frustrating. Or, I do find it very frustrating that I've invested so much in the dance and the artistry, and that's not always the thing that people see. But I have come to realize that I don't want to compound that by having this attitude about being condescending towards service work, because it is so important to care for people. And this idea of the belly dancer as someone who is facilitating entrance into the night, into mystery, into magic, into the Bacchanalian revel, I think is not frivolous at all. You are like a priestess, like a gatekeeper in this boundary between the day and the night, and you transport people into this magical realm. You get the people, you go and you get them, and you do this boundary transgressing ritual on them, and then they are transported into this other experiential realm. And that's not so frivolous. That has its own dignity. So I don't want to tell people that they don't have to learn to dance. Please learn to dance. But the dancing is definitely not all of it, at least for a lot of venues. If people are your fans and they're there to see you in particular, that's a whole other thing. But when you're just the belly dancer, the dancing is important, but the hospitality is very, very important also.
A successful commercial show, really any show, once you take this dance out of your living room, you have to consider and be considerate of your audience. And when it's a commercial show, pleasing your audience that's your mandate. Because if you don't please that audience that's paying you to be there and to dance, by definition, you have failed to deliver a successful commercial show. What makes the audience happy? I always think of my very first agent who told me, look, the client wants to see a pretty girl in a shiny costume, swirling some veils and clicking some zills. You give them that, they're happy. And as a baby dancer, coming from a very culturally respectful and artistically oriented dance training background, I was horrified that she was reducing this great art of belly dance down to the lowest common denominator of what is universally appealing about belly dance. But now, from the perspective of, a couple of years and a whole lot of gigs, 100% I agree with that agent. She's right. Pretty girl, shiny costume, float your veils, clack your zills. This makes people happy. Most of the commercial shows that you do are for a festive occasion. It's family and friends getting together to celebrate something, and they are doing this in a social occasion, having a social event. These are not normally very sophisticated belly dance consumers. They really don't know a lot about the dance. They're not really qualified to judge your dance skills, and that's why that's really not part of the formula for a successful show. Frankly, I've known a number of very successful commercial dancers whose actual dance skills and maybe their breadth and their technique is moderate at best, mediocre at best. But that's not what this audience is looking for. Your commercial audience wants you to entertain them, they want you to engage them, and they want you to enhance whatever this festive celebratory occasion is that they are holding, that they're having, that they have hired you to be a part of. And in some ways, and I know some people are not going to be happy with me with this, one of the greatest assets you can have, I mean, it's great to be a good dancer. That's going to add layers of richness, being graceful, and they will notice if you're a terrible dancer. I mean, you can't fool all the people all the time. But what I have honestly found is if you have a good body, the better your body, because all humans, whether or not they know anything about belly dance, all humans seem to feel that they are qualified to judge each other's bodies. So if your body, rates at a certain level, well, they're going to be happy. And if you have clothed that nice body in a lovely, exotic costume that feeds this Orientalist fantasy, because we're essentially being hired to be, the dancing girl, then they're really happy. And if you can then combine that, obviously you have the attributes of a belly dancer, the veil in particular, the zills, maybe some other prop that you use. You combine that with an engaging personality, because this is really, really critical. You need to have a professional, calm demeanor, a problem-solving demeanor. You have to be flexible, you have to be versatile, so that the client feels very, very comfortable that you're on top of your game, you know what you're doing, you're going to deliver. But you also want to be empathetic, kind of gentle, gracious, that you're out there dancing, you're bringing them into the show, you're not being too aggressive, you're not scaring them off. You really have to read the crowd. I think people skills are just super important in delivering these successful commercial shows, because it's making them happy. This is not about you and your great artistry and your many views on the subject of belly dancing. It's, here's the client, what are they doing, what do they want from you, give them what they want.